Hi, welcome back to Oneness. And today is the day one of our 81 days journey with 81 verses of Tao Te Ching. So before we start with verse 1 of Tao Te Ching, let's observe a few seconds of silence. Thank you. So let me go through the first verse of Tao Te Ching. And then let's try to understand what the Lao Tzu meant in the verse 1 of Tao Te Ching. So let me begin with the verse itself. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The nameless is the beginning of heaven and earth. The named is the mother of 10,000 things. Ever desireless, one can see mystery. Ever desiring, one sees the manifestation. These two spring from the same source, but differ in name. This appears as darkness, the darkness within darkness, the gate to all mystery. So that is verse 1 of Tao Te Ching. Let me quickly just go through each line of it and quickly share what does it mean according to me. So let's start with the first line of Tao Te Ching. So as we know, the Tao means the way. So if I replace the word Tao in the first line with the way, it goes like this. The way that can be told is not the eternal way. So here what we are referring to the way is the way of nature. So the way of nature is unity, it is one single being, the whole of nature is. There is no separation of two different people or a thing or anything. It's one thing. The whole being is a whole consciousness is coming alive and then living together. So that's what we're talking about, the way of nature, right? And this is also, the oneness is also the first step of spirituality, the awakening process. So when you're talking about a spirituality, the way of nature, so we know from the lot of enlightened beings in the past that there are so many ways they would have told us, so there are a lot of practices. But what I can sense is those are all merely tools for the journey of enlightenment or awakening. And the journey itself, it is very, very individualistic and no one can explain what or how and what is a way and what they see, nothing. It is just that they can give us some tools and say that, hey, if you follow these things, probably a good chance that you will reach and know what is enlightenment means. So that's what they say. So that also means it cannot be explained. So that is what they say. The person who were witnessed the true enlightenment, they don't speak. The people who speak about the great deal about enlightenment or awakening and how to achieve that, probably they never seen, right? So that is what I understand from the first line. And the second line, the name that can be named is not the eternal name. Of course, that is completely straightforward and true. So what is name, right? So it is all the references that we human being created for our own convenience, but it is not the actual name of anything. For an example, be a grass or earth or sun, there is no actual label it comes with says that this is the name. But then we make up all the names for our convenience, right? And also it changes from one language to the other language. For an example, the sun we call in English solis, solis in Latin, and Surya in Hindi and Suryan in Tamil. So the different languages goes and the way we call the same thing changes. But then it doesn't affect the eternal thing, be it a grass or the sun or anything. They all outlive their name. So the name that can be named is not the eternal name. There is no label to all those eternal things for anybody, even including me. So for an example, the name what my parents gave, I accepted it. But apart from that, I didn't come with a label of Karthikeyan has to be named. No, it is never a case. So it is not an eternal name. So let's move on. The nameless is the beginning of heaven and earth. The named is the mother of 10,000 things. So what Lao Tzu means by 10,000 things is nothing but like all of the creation the man witnessed so far. It's simply all the manifestation, all the creation that happened is what he means by mother of 10,000 things. And also he says that as a nameless is the beginning of heaven and earth. So here comes the favorite part of mine. So see, even now the science all try to understand the whole creation and the root of all creation. And we are still struggling to find how the Big Bang has happened, right? So we know there is a Big Bang and then all the universe is formed from a Big Bang. But then what is behind that? And people still trying to figure out the God particle or a boson particle or dark matter for that example. And also demystify some part of black hole. So all these things are still unknown to human beings. So that cannot be explained. And that is the origin of everything. But at the same time, what we see as a manifestation is what we can label. That's what it says. Ever desireless, one can see mystery. Ever desiring, one see the manifestation. That is a very truthful word. Both desiring and being desireless. So in my understanding, it goes like this. Ever desiring it is something like, say, as a normal beings, we have life goals. Like, the first, we have to study in the beginning of the years, then we have to find a better job, and then get a handsome salary, and then post that buy a car, buy a house, get married, get kids, and etc., take few international vacation, and goes on. So we always aspire and desire, I wanted to be better, I wanted to do that, the materialistic aspects of things. And even spiritual aspect of it, we desire the most. We desire as if the enlightenment is around the corner. By paying some money, I can get that. That people also do that. But then again, so the whole process is desiring. And as the Lao Tzu says, it does manifest, right? We also do get what we desire for. But then when we let go of all the desires in life, all we can see is a mystery. The mystery is a truth, the eternal truth. That is what the true wisdom looks like. And that is where the awakening and enlightenment starts. When we let go of all the desires and allowing the way or the nature to be with us and allow us to flow with the things. Instead forcing and trying to learn things and find some way to get a hang of what it is. Rather letting go of everything and then allowing ourselves within to observe what it offers to us. So that's what difference between desire and being desireless. And the last three lines goes like, these two spring from the same source but differ in name. This appears as darkness, the darkness within darkness, the gate to all mystery. So in other words, the darkness in some of the translation I've seen, they also say that as the secret within the secret, which is the gate to all mystery. So all they mean is, so even if if you wanted to relate like a black hole for that matter. So if you know that the scientific evidence now says that in the center of every single galaxy in the universe, there is a black hole, which is the force which attracts everything within a galaxy to spiral around it. In every single galaxy, be it Andromeda or our own Milky Way, it is all about the black hole in the center which attracts the things, right? And the big debate comes in is when was a black hole formed, and nobody could find out. And not even the light passed through a black hole, right? It is a darkness. All the way if you go to the deep space, it's also dark. And when you travel through the deep space, when you reach a black hole, it is complete darkness. Even light cannot escape. So that is what I connect with. The darkness within the darkness, which is somewhere it's related to black hole. And nobody could understand what it is. And so far, all we know is we just enter, the light cannot escape black hole, and we go inside, we get spaghettify and all those things. But then no one really understands yet about black hole. So that's what it talks about. The whole mystery is somewhere lies within, which we don't know yet. With that, that is a first interpretation of the first verse. And also, I like to share that, so this first verse is very mystical in nature. And somewhere I just read the first verse compresses the whole wisdom of Tao Te Ching in this one single verse. But then there are so many ways that we can interpret, and then so many ways that we can think through and learn as we have an ability or understanding of what it is. And obviously I have to say that our interpretation also changes from time to time. And as we evolve, our interpretation changes as well. So whenever we talk about spirituality or the way to awakening or enlightenment, there are so many ways. And so some people get caught up in, I have to learn this, I have to do this, I have to do pranayama, I have to do meditation, I have to do yoga, I have to do the gratitude. And I understand that everything is important, everything has its place. But then there are just merely tools. To give you an example of that, the analogy that I had was, it is like you have to walk through the forest and climb a mountain to reach the mountain top. And what you see from there, it is the experience of awakened being or enlightened being. So all the things all the tools and everything or which is shared by the enlightened beings go something like this. See, you're going to go through a forest. You better be physically fit so that you are able to walk and climb the mountain. What do? Make your body fit for the activity of climbing and going through the forest. So what you do is they suggest exercise or yoga asanas. You do that. And secondly, they say that, hey, you know what? The jungle and the mountains are not friendly with you. They may be rough and full of rocks and wild animals. So you have to literally be watchful about your surroundings. What you do? Be mindful. Like how? So to develop the mindfulness, you have to do meditation so that you be one with your own self, and then you go through it with a heightened mindfulness when you go through the journey. And then they say, you know what? You have to climb up the mountain. So you may run out of a breath because it's a high altitude. So what do? So you have to do a breathing exercise, pranayama. So these are all the exercises and tools that you may have to do. And then once you're on top of the mountain, so what you see, it is absolutely yours to see. No two human beings or not two enlightened beings see the same thing, because it is a unique experience for each one of us. And the path that we travel is also by ourselves. There is no person who can they may just tell you the direction, but they cannot walk with you. It is a path that we ought to take it ourselves. So that's what the whole thing about the way that can be told is not the eternal way. Think about it. If it makes sense, take it. Or if you have any thoughts, please let me know. So I'm glad to know your thoughts and understanding as well. Right? So which is important, we share what is our understanding of these verses so that, mutually contribute to our own well-being and growth. So that makes sense. So let's end this day one with an actionable thought for today. The actionable thought for today is, let's observe our inner state as well as what happens around us all the time. If at any given point in time, like, if you find uneasy with our own thoughts, if something is like, making us sad or angry or agitated or any kind of a thing that it goes within, as well as any situation that makes us go through some of the emotional journey that we take within, let's observe those point or the situation or the thoughts, and then instead of reacting, just be. Just allow the whole experience of feeling uncomfortable to be. Just allow the situation, even if you get angry at somebody, like, don't express it. Instead, accept and be with it. The situation that you cannot change, accept and be with it. So, where is that, the feeling of being like, angry or sad and everything that comes from? It is when we want something and that doesn't happen in reality. So that is where our expectation doesn't meet. So we get sad, we get angry, we want to still control the environment, we want to control our own self, and that is where we split. Instead of wanting or expecting, let's allow whatever the situation is, whoever the people are, whatever our thought may be, to whatever it is, and be with it and see how the day goes. All right, with this, we come to an end of the day one of with Tao Te Ching. Thank you for watching, and let's see tomorrow.